Glisi to all my relations. Welcome to Drum Making 101 with yours truly, Thunderboy. And today we are going to be showing you how to make a hand drum, Cree style, Canadian style. Okay. You're going to need your hide and your rim for your drum frame. You're going to need a big needle, big eye, some sinew, and an awl. Oh, and some pliers just in case. So in these kits, that's going to be handed out to you. You'll just have the frame, the hide, and you'll also have some lacing and some couple other things. We're gonna make them differently, but I'm gonna make them how I know how to make them. So yeah, the things you're gonna definitely need are definitely the needle, your pliers, your awl, and your sinew, because those won't come in your kits. This will be at home stuff for you and your parents. And you're gonna need a drill too, because you're gonna have to do some hole drilling. So first things first, before you get anything and everything going, what you're going to want to do is you're going to get your frame, your drum frame here, and you're going to start making points of where you're going to drill. So to make time go a little bit faster, what you want to do too is you want to at least try and get at least an even number of holes. And so the frames that are being passed out in your kit are going to be 10-inch drum kits. And so my guesstimation is you want to get a piece of cardboard and cut it about 3/4 inches wide and about almost 2 inches long, and that should give you about a good estimate to get all your holes all nice and laced up and put out right. So this video is not going to cover the whole project right now, so it's going to be a little bit time-lapse a little bit further, because right now I got to soak the hide, but I'm going to get you going on what you're getting started here. So we're going to put the hide in the water. So all you're going to do here is you're just going to get a regular tub of water from home, just nice cold water, and you're going to soak your hide in it, as so. So these are going to be deer hides, so that they won't take too long. Some of these instructions say to do it overnight. You don't have to do it overnight. Just let them soak for a couple hours before you start getting your project going. Okay, so yeah, the soaking process for those, because they're going to be deer hide, they're going to be a little bit fragile, so you always want to make sure you be careful, but they should be able to be good enough to do it how we're going to do it. So yeah, so you just want to soak your hide for maybe just even an hour, just to make sure it's nice and flexible and we'll be able to move around. So while you're doing that and waiting for your hide to soak, we're going to get you going and get you started on this here. So like I said before, depending on how old you are, or if you're safe enough to work with workers' tools, parents, you're going to definitely want to help your children out, because you're definitely going to need a drill, and you're going to need a drill bit, because we're going to be drilling some holes. Now you don't have to really use a big bit, but you want to do it just big enough that way you can be able to weave in and out your needle, because we're going to be doing a weaving technique while we're doing this to put down our hide. That's all you're doing, is you're just going here and you're just drilling all your holes that you marked off. So yeah, like I said, you're going to drill all your hole points. And don't worry if they end up being uneven, or you go a little higher, a little lower, it's okay. It's just as long as you get holes punched around all the way, nice and evenly spaced as best as you can, you're good to go. Alrighty, another thing too, while we're also waiting, what you're going to want to do is we're going to get you some lined out with some sinew. So you can always split it in half, but I prefer doing the whole line, so that way you can make sure that your rim is nice and secure down to the hide. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your hoop, you're going to hold a couple inches off, and you're just going to go around your hoop like 3 times, and that's going to be able to give you enough should be giving you enough sinew so that you can tie off your drum here when you start getting it sewed up. Excuse the people in the background. Oh yeah, And another thing you're going to want for this project is probably some scissors so you could cut your sinew, unlike me. Luckily I had a knife by the truck. Now for your needle, I just get one of those big old sew needles you can get at Walmart for like a couple bucks. They come in like a 4 or 5 pack. Use a big one so you can be able to thread it easier, and plus they'll be able to go right through your holes in your rim, as so. So yeah, this is just the prep process before you start doing the real deal. Yeah, you just leave a little tail hanging. What you'll come do here at the thing next is you'll tie off your end. Alright, so your hides are going to be already end up being pre-punched, as there's already holes in them, but it's okay because we're ended up going to cover that flap off over anyways when we're done here. But if you end up wanting to do it the basic way and don't want to do it this way, we'll also do a video probably on that way to do it with just the regular lacing. But what you're going to want to do too, after you finally get your hide soaked around here, you're going to want to try and stretch it out a little bit more, just give a little bit more leeway. So you want to do this on a table. My table's being occupied at the moment, so I'm using the back end here of my truck. So what you're going to do is just end up grabbing one end and holding the other, and just on a nice little sharp corner like your table, you're just going to go and hold it, and you're going to stretch it. Move your hands a bit, hold, stretch it. And plus these holes on here help a little bit, so you can just hold out where the holes are and jerk it down and pull it nice and tight and stretch. Just like so. This will give you a little bit more room to work with your hide while you're stretching it out, and if you end up coming short, this process here also helps a little bit to take care of some of that shortage. And then once you give it a little bit more leeway, you can just throw it back in your water and let it soak just a little bit longer to give yourself a little bit more gumption. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do next here. We're gonna lay out your hide here. It's all nice and soaked and stretched out. You're gonna want to look for your outside of your skin and your inside, because what you're gonna do is, if you want to make your drum look pretty, you always want to use the outside of the skin. So we're gonna, this is my outside and here's the in. As you can see, that it's kind of like fleshed out right here. So we're gonna put the outside part of the skin face down. And while you're also doing that, we're gonna grab our rim here. We're gonna put it on top of our hide. Get it as center as we can, and make sure that everything goes a little over. It's okay. Your hide may not be able to fit all the way over, but it's all right, because it don't matter what it looks like on the inside, just as long as you get that hide on there, and we'll be just fine. So it's okay if your hide looks a little deformed. It's alright. You can always use like a butter knife or something, or your pliers that you have, and try and get it straightened out a bit as you start making your way around. So this is how we're going to do this to get this started. This is going to take the longest part, because if you're new to making drums like this, it's going to take a little bit, but once you get the hang of it, you're golden. So going around, we know that it ain't going to fit all the way over, but it's okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get you started here. You're going to take your awl, and you're going to start at your first hole, and you're going to pluck a hole through your frame and through your hide, like that. Just like that here. Take it out, and then you're going to take your needle and put it through that hole. Just like that. To make sure that everything's tied down properly and whatnot, what you'll do is you'll go through your hole one more time, just to be safe. That way you know, guaranteed, that your little knot won't come out. That's the whole reason we put a knot at the end, so don't go through. So this is the fun part now. What we're going to start doing is we're going to start taking our hide, we're going to fold it over, and we're going to poke a hole through that next hole. As so. And you're going to put your needle through. And so when we start it, we want to go on the inside. And our knot will come out here, and our next hole we want to go in. And then pretty much pattern reverse. Alright. Flip it over, try and get it as flush as you can. Put another hole in it. And that's all you're pretty much doing, is you're just going to go in and out all the way through. Real easy once you get used to it. Okay, so now I've weaved in and out all my holes, and now I've come to the very last hole. You might wonder, like, how am I supposed to do that? So what you're going to do is right before you cross back over, you're going to go through the hole with your knot and get you started, and then you're just going to zip back through the other way. Just kind of like this. Let's see here. And this is why it's always good to have, because that knot's going to cover up your hole a bit, so it's going to be a little bit hard to pull. So that's why you want to get your needle nose pliers and pull it right through. And yep, just like that, your first round is done. And so when you kind of look at the inside of your rim, you're going to see that some of this is hanging out because it's just a little too short, but that's okay. It's going to give it some character, because all drums aren't going to be made the same. Everyone's going to be unique in their own way. And so yeah, you can always just go and put a little hole with your awl in to keep it cinched down if you don't like it like that. And yeah. So now this is the easier part. So all you're going to do now is just go back through all your holes and get everything tied down. Yeah, cinch it down. And a couple of those holes too I used that were already pre-punched, they came in handy, so you can cinch it down. Just this so. Now some of these holes are going to be a little bit harder going back because the height and everything is shifted a little bit, but it's okay. You can use your needle nose pliers and get them straightened out a little bit and get it back into its proper position. We'll just make a new hole right here, just to be safe, to keep some of that hide down. Yeah, like I said before, it's going to take a little bit longer than expected the first go around, because this is your first time trying it out. But once you get it down, it's just a breeze from there. So make sure to never have bad thoughts or bad feelings while doing this, because whatever bad thoughts or bad feelings you put in your mind will also be put into that drum, because these drums are very sacred, because they were once living people. Okay, so I have gone all the way around twice. And if you look at your frame, this is what you should look like. It should go all the way in and out on both sides. There should not be a space missing. If you forget a space, it's okay. You could just take your sinew out and go back and make it back to that one spot you forgot. But then all you're going to want to do now is, once you get back to that same tie knot, you're going to go one more through time and just tie it down right there at the same knot area. And make sure you tie it off on the inside. Alright, so once you finally get that all tied off, just take your scissors or whatever you have and just cut off a little tail. And if you have like a lighter or some matches, just singe that little tail down and just lick your thumb and then push that little axis down once it gets to the bottom. And then once you get used to it, if you want to too, you can always go back through these holes, and if you want to make sure and tie it down secure more, or when you're going through or whatever, you can always go through, wrap around once like that, come around, wrap around, so you can keep it all the way knotted down for both ends, just to make it safe if you don't feel it. But every drum maker is going to be different. You can do cool little designs tying it down. You can do crosses, you know, lap it over however you feel like it, or just diagonally, however you feel like doing it. But that's just this basic way that we're going to show you today. So this drum making kit may take you a couple days. So what's going to go down to is, once you leave it like that, you want to put it away somewhere. You don't want to put it too, you can hang it up on your wall, but you don't want to put it too high, or you want to keep it too low. You just want to put it in just regular temperatured room and let it dry overnight, and then we'll take it from there and show you how to make the handle. And so all you're going to need, so there's two different ways you can make your handle once it's dried the next day. We'll fast forward to that, but beforehand, like I said, make sure you hang this up somewhere on the wall or somewhere not too high, and let it dry in just a regular temperature room, so that way it's got a little bounce to it already, but it'll dry quick because it's deer, so you just want to let it dry overnight. So there's one or two different ways you can do your handle. So one way is you can go ahead and use some more sinew and tie your handle down that way, or the other way, that how use it Cree style as well, is use kite string. You can just go to your local Walmart or Dollar Tree, and you don't need too much, you just need enough to where you can get your handle fixed. But me, for this tutorial video, I'm going to use kite string because this is the stuff I prefer to use to make my handles with. Alright, so what's also going to come in with your drum kit will be a kit for a stick. And so you're going to come with a little piece of sinew, or my bad, sinew, some leather, and a piece of cloth and your stick. So yeah. In it too, there's going to be some instructions on how to do it, but I'm just going to do it a quick way to put it together to show you guys what's going down. In the instructions, it says you want to glue it down, but what I'm just going to do here is go ahead and I'm just going to wrap it anyways, just like this, as so. And we won't need use this one now. I'll just use my extras that I had left over right here, so I don't waste so much. And what you'll do is just take some sinew or whatever you have with you and just tie it off. Yep, and just tie it off. Give yourself a little bit of an extra tail right there, so that way, just in case if you have to tie some more, you can just tie some more. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to fold it in thirds, and that'll be my start for my cover. We'll just wrap that extra access off and just go and wrap it around like this. And then just take, see, we'll just use this stuff for now. Yeah, I'll just use the stuff that they gave me in the kit. So what we'll do for this one here is we'll just go and tie it off. Let's do a quick notch. And then what you'll do here is And all you'll do here is you'll just crisscross it going down. And then come here at the end, just go ahead and give it another little tie off here. And if you want to, just crisscross your way back up. You can always just follow the instructions that it gives you. I just like doing quick ghetto rig ups, and then, you know, cut off your ends and cinch them down, and your stick's ready to go. But if you have an extra drum laying around, you can always test your stick out just in case. Okay, so now we're gonna fast forward the drying process for you guys. Here in 3, 2, 1. Surprise and welcome back. Now we're here. Everything is finally dried. Dried overnight, kept it at a stable temperature, house temperature. Now we're gonna start working on the handle, and I'm gonna use kite string for this one. So if you don't have kite string, you can always just use sinew, but easiest way to do this to get it started, because you're gonna have kind of like a cross looking type or an X for your handle. So what you'll do is you'll just leave a tail, because you're gonna have to make a knot, and you're gonna just go this way a couple times. 4, 5, you want to go about 6, 7 times just to give yourself some length, and then just go and snip it right off. Okay, so tied off a knot here. Don't have to be too pretty. And I put my needle on my kite string here, and I'm gonna get ready to start getting this sewed up. So like I said, depending on how many holes you got, it all depends. I have 16 holes. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna measure out which areas. So I'm gonna use 2 holes right here, and there should be a flush 2 holes on the other side, and then another flush 2 holes on the other side, and your handle should be even. But if not, you can always go 3 if you accidentally do an odd number of holes, but it's okay. That's what makes your drum unique. Okay, so now I picked out my holes, and now I'm gonna start getting them put in and getting it sewed. That's why you want to make your hole a little bit bigger, so when your drum does dry, you have still enough room, depending on if you're gonna use kite string or if you're gonna use sinew, so that we can just pull it right through just like that. And always make sure to keep some pliers on hand, just in case your hole's a little tighter than you expected, so that way you can just pull it out a little easier. So there's one of 2 ways you can do this. You can go over and make your handle inside and have a little bit of leeway to it, but I like to prefer going over, so you can have a little bit of more finger room when you're trying to flick it around. So I'm just gonna go over for you guys. And so what you're gonna do is, as soon as you get your thing in, you're gonna look at your 2 holes on your side and look at the 2 other holes on the opposite side. You're gonna take your string, you're gonna come over, and you're gonna go on the diagonal side real quick. Yeah, just come and bring it, wrap it right over, and put your needle right through. It's okay if you use a sharp needle, because your drum is now hard and dry, and so it won't try and mess it up. And then once you get your hole through there, you just go and take your needle next to the other hole that you made across the way, and you're just gonna put your needle back through that hole. So I'm at a kink, so now I'm gonna use my needle, or I'm gonna use my pliers to put it through the hole, because I got a kink in mine. When you're doing it, you make sure you pull it, give it a little bit of pull, a little bit of tug, so you kind of get it tight. And then, like I said, once again, just give it a little bit of a tug. And now what you're gonna do is, since you're on the other side, you're gonna come back over, and you're gonna go over across the other way to the other side, just as so. And like I said, once again, If your hole's a little bit too tight than you expected, just use your pliers and just pull it right out. That way you give yourself a little bit of leeway. It'll tend to, if you use kite string, it'll tend to try and knot up a bit, where you just straighten it out and just use your hands. See? And that's going to be your first part of your X. And then just to tie it off, what you'll do, if you want to, you can just go back around and just put your needle through one more time. Yeah, just put your needle through one more time and make sure you keep it tight so your handle stays a little tight. And then just take your needle to this back side here. You're just going to tie off a knot here in the inside. Never do it on the outside, just the inside. Okay, and so once you get your knot tied down, all you're going to do is just take your scissors or whatever and just cut off a little tail. And then what you're going to do later on is you're going to just singe all those tails down. And now with all your extra kite string you have, or your sinew, you're going to take your end again and make another knot. So now we're going to go the other way. We're going to crisscross it. Okay, so if you got an even amount of number of holes, you'll be able to tell you got your 2 here and your 2 here. So you should be able to be kind of adjacent and have 2 and 2 over here. So we're going to just go the opposite way now. And make sure you come through the inside of your drum. Okay, excuse the people in the background. I'm at a family function. Hey. But yeah, once I said again, you're just going to look over and you're going to diagonal it and put it through. Okay, so I'm going to get my needle and poke it through the hole. Remember, like I said, maybe a little bit of a jam. That's why you just pull your pliers and pull it right through. Nothing to it. Got it through my hole, and I'll take it through the other hole from the inside. That way it'll just be kind of flush with our thing, with our rim here. Pull that through. Yeah, once you make sure to give it a nice tug, that way it stays tight. And then just back right over to the other hole, crossing. Then all you're gonna do, once you get it crossed that way, is you're just gonna tie it off. Go through the loop one more time and knot it off. And that's all you're gonna do. And so we've tied our knot here. And then all you're gonna do is just take your scissors, make a little tail. You'll singe that off as well. And you're pretty much almost done. You should have a cross like this. And if you end up having an odd number of holes, one of your sides will be a little bit bigger, but it's okay. It's going to make your drum unique. So now this is what we're going to do now. Now we're going to do the handle. We got the main part of the handle, but now we're going to do where your hand's going to hold it. We're going to make what's called a God's eye. Alright, so how we're going to do this is we're going to take the last of our kite string, or our sinew that we have, get it evenly straightened out. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one end and go under. And then you're just going to cross it. And then the 2 sides that you didn't go under, you're going to cross back under that way. And then what you're going to do is just tie just a regular basic knot, nothing too fancy. And that's going to keep your thing steady, and it's going to close them together a little tighter like that. And then what you're going to do from here to make your handle a little bit thicker, you're going to take both ends, no matter what side you start on, and you're just going to start on one side through one side here. You're just going to go under and pull it all the way up and come back around, and then go to the next side. Depending if you rotate left or right, just follow it, just up and under each little side, and then come up and under. You can make sure to try and keep your things flat, up and under, and you're just going to continuously do this until you start slowly running out of string. Alright, so I've come to the end. I've made my God's eye. As you can see, I time-lapsed this for you guys so we could go by and so you could see what goes on. Now what you're going to do is once you come to that very end, you're just going to wrap it around a couple times here on the bottom one that you started on. Just so you can, you're just going to notch it off. And just wrap it a couple times, and then that third wrap around, you're going to tie it off. Just as so. You don't have to be too fancy, and then all you're going to do is just take your scissors, cut a couple little tails, and then you're going to cinch them down. And you pretty much made yourself your own drum crease style. Okay, and like I said before, make sure you be careful when you're cinching down those little tails from your handle, because you may accidentally try and get your drum sinew burnt. But it's okay if you do. It's you can just go back through and redo it. But I have singed it down, and now the drum is complete. It's gonna sound a little pingy because it's still kind of tight from drying, but it's okay. You can always put a little water on it to make it a little bit more less pingy sounding, and pretty much you're good to go, and you made your own drum. Alrighty, so I'm here at the end, and now just put a little water on the top and here on the inside a little bit to get that pingy noise out, and you got your own drum. Now that we've come to the end of this video, thank you guys for tuning in and learning how to make a hand drum crease style. Now what I want to leave you off here is make sure you take care of your drum as good as you can. Take care of it like you would your grandparents. Make sure you keep him wrapped up. You don't leave him face down if you're going to use him, because you wouldn't lay your grandfather face down, right? Make sure you hang him up, not so high and not so low. Make sure to keep him wrapped up because you don't want your grandpa to get cold. Yeah, because these drums are once living things. This deer was once living, this tree was once living, the sinew is the flesh of once living animal. So you always want to make sure you take good care of them, because if you take care of your drum will take care of you. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching this tutorial video. We'll see you at the next one. Ahoy.